Hello students, welcome to my class. So in one of my previous video, I talked about photosystem 1 and 2 and how light phase reaction takes place in photosystem 1 and 2. Now, one more important topic under that is what is that protein that is catalyzing this reaction, that is water splitting reaction taking place in photosystem 2. So that protein that is catalyzing that reaction is nothing but the manganese protein that is present in the photosystem 2. Now you have already studied this that in photosystem 2 what happens students, there is electron loss. One electron is leaving the photosystem 2 and going to photosystem 1, correct? And there is vacancy created in photosystem 2. In order to fill up that vacancy, there is splitting up of water molecule which will give out oxygen and electrons that will fill up that vacancy that is created. Okay, but there is an enzyme or a protein whose presence is required in order to split up this water molecule. That is nothing but your manganese protein. So this is nothing but a metal complex containing around 4 atoms of manganese, and this is attached to the protein molecule, that is this is present in the photosystem too. And how does it do this water splitting reaction? It is nothing but it does the oxidation of water. You know that oxidation is loss of electron. So first this enzyme itself, the enzyme containing manganese itself gets oxidized. Then that oxidized form of the enzyme goes and oxidizes water, because of which there is loss of electron, because oxidation means loss of electrons, correct? So when water gets oxidized, there is loss of electron and around 4 electrons are lost, and also along with the loss of electron there is evolution of oxygen. So if they ask you which is that protein or which is that enzyme that is required for water splitting reaction in photosystem 2, then it is a manganese based enzyme without which this reaction, water splitting reaction, cannot take place. And you know that water splitting is a very important reaction in photosynthesis because it leads to evolution of oxygen, which is then given out by the plant and consumed by all other organisms. So this reaction is catalyzed by manganese protein. So with that, we have finished about photosystem 1 and 2. Next, under this topic only, we are moving on to study of chlorophyll. How is the structure of chlorophyll? Now, chlorophyll, you have already studied that chlorophyll is a pigment that is present in all the green plant, and it is very, very important in plants. Why? What is the reason? Because chlorophyll is a photoreceptor, meaning to say it is that pigment which absorbs light. And you know that all these light phase reactions are light dependent, that is they cannot take place when light is not there. So in order for them to take place, they need light, and for light to be present there should be a receptor who is able to absorb that light, and that work is done by chlorophyll pigment that is present in your chloroplast of the green plant. So now we'll be studying in detail what is the structure of chlorophyll. So it is found in chloroplast of the green plants, where all these light phase reactions, that is photosystem 1 and 2 that we studied previously, all of that is taking place in the chloroplast, correct? So these pigments are also present in the chloroplast, and they are also responsible for the green color of the leaves and plant. Okay, because these pigments are green, because of that the leaves have green color in them. And then what is the structure? This is actually the chemical structure of chlorophyll. You can see that there is a red color ring here having 4 nitrogen atoms. This ring is called as a porphyrin ring. Okay, porphyrin ring of the chlorophyll having 4 nitrogen atoms that are coordinated to the central metal atom, which is magnesium. So the central metal atom present in chlorophyll is magnesium, and it has a porphyrin ring having 4 nitrogen atom which is coordinated to the central metal atom. Next, initially they thought, these scientists, when they were working on chlorophyll, they thought that it was a singular pigment, okay, single compound. But later, even the spectroscopy study. Spectroscopy is where you study about the structure of different organic compound. That study showed that chlorophyll was in fact a mixture of two different compounds. How did they find this out? When dried leaves were powdered and digested with ethanol, after concentration of the solvent, crystalline chlorophyll is obtained. This you do in lab, correct? You prepare a solution and then you leave it for evaporation, where you get its crystalline form. But when they used ether or aqueous acetone instead of ethanol, they got amorphous chlorophyll instead of crystalline chlorophyll. Because of this experiment, they concluded that chlorophyll is not just one pigment by itself, there are mixture of components in chlorophyll. So, in 1912, one of the scientists, he told that chlorophyll was a mixture of two important compounds, that is chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Two different compounds were present in chlorophyll, that is chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Next, you can separate these two compounds. They were separated by shaking a light petroleum solution of chlorophyll with aqueous methanol. When this was done, what happened? This chlorophyll A component remained in the light petroleum part of the solution, whereas chlorophyll B, it got transferred into aqueous methanol. What you're doing, you're taking a test tube, you're mixing this solution of chlorophyll in light petroleum with aqueous methanol, and you can see formation of two layers, and these two components will separate itself into these two layers, from which we understand that chlorophyll, although it is a singular pigment, but it has two different important components, that is chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. So chlorophyll A, it is bluish black solid, whereas chlorophyll B is a green solid, dark green solid, and both are responsible for giving this green color in plants and also in the solution. And the ratio of chlorophyll A to B is 3 is to 1. That is, chlorophyll A is present in larger content compared to chlorophyll B, because the ratio is 3 is to 1. And both of these chlorophyll components are responsible for the absorption of light, that is, they are effective photoreceptors because they contain a network of alternating single and double bond, and the orbitals can delocalize, stabilizing the structure. Now, what is this, students? Let me here give an example of benzene ring. Okay, you have studied benzene ring, correct? So in benzene ring, you know that there is alternate single and double bond in benzene ring, because of which the benzene ring is very stable. What is the reason? This alternate single and double bonds are there, that is the pi bonds. When they are in alternate position, what they are able to move, they are not fixed to one position. So that is called as delocalization of electrons. That is that pi bond in the benzene ring can move, can shift, okay, from one position to another, which is called as delocalization of electron, because of which benzene ring structure is very stable. If there is delocalization of electron, then that structure, that cyclic structure, is very stable. Now see here in chlorophyll, you can see in the porphyrin ring that there is single bond, there is single bond, double bond, single bond, double bond. So there is alternate single and double bond here. There's a double bond, single bond, double bond, single bond. So because of alternate single and double bond present here, you can see delocalization of electrons here. That is, that pi bond, they can shift, because of which there is delocalization of electron. And whenever there is delocalization, the structure is said to be very, very stable. And such delocalized polyenes, they have a very strong absorption band in the visible region of the spectrum. That is, they can absorb very strongly the visible light. So, because of that property, the plants are able to absorb the light from sunlight. That is the visible light from the sunlight. So next is how these two pigments they work together in absorbing of light. So chlorophyll's major function is what? Absorbing of light. Rest all the reaction will take place in the chloroplast. So there are two pigments, chlorophyll A and B. The different side groups in the two chlorophylls tune the absorption spectrum to slightly different wavelength. Meaning to say, here you can see in the structure, if it is chlorophyll A, it has a side group R, R will be CH3. And if it is chlorophyll B, this R group will be CHO. So the side group will change. If it's chlorophyll A, it will have CH3 group, and if it is chlorophyll B, it will have CHO. Because of different side group, what happens, their absorbing band, that is wavelength which they absorb, is also different. So chlorophyll A, from this graph you can see this is wavelength and this is the absorbance. Chlorophyll A can absorb very good, very, it can show very good absorption, that is high peak in the graph around 600 to 700 nanometer wavelength. Okay, so you know that this visible light that is coming from sun has a range of wavelength, correct? So around 600 to 700 nanometer chlorophyll A can absorb it very well, whereas around 400 to 500 nanometer chlorophyll B can absorb very well. And this wavelength coming from sunlight is a mixture of different wavelengths from around 400 to 700. A mixture of wavelength will be there. So although say if 460 nanometer was there, then chlorophyll A cannot absorb it because its efficiency is from 600 to 700. So it cannot absorb 460. But chlorophyll B can absorb it. Yeah, same way if around 660 was there, then chlorophyll B cannot absorb it. But chlorophyll A can absorb. So are you understanding? These both, they are working in coordination with one another. That is one wavelength range. If chlorophyll A cannot absorb it, chlorophyll B will be able to absorb it. Same way, if chlorophyll B is not able to absorb it, chlorophyll A will absorb it. That is, thus these two kind of chlorophylls, they complement each other in absorbing sunlight. That is, around 460 nanometer, it will be captured by chlorophyll B, which absorbs strongly at that wavelength. If it was 460, chlorophyll B is able to absorb strongly from range of 400 to 500. So 460 comes between 400 to 500. So if chlorophyll A is not able to absorb, because absorbing capacity of chlorophyll A is very less in that range. So if chlorophyll A is not able to absorb that wavelength range, chlorophyll B will absorb it. Hence, these two complement each other in absorbing of sunlight. In the end, what is the end result? Because of both of them, both of the pigments complementing each other and working together, a wide range of wavelength is absorbed that is required for light phase reaction. And the absorption spectrum, as you can see, of the chlorophyll shows that it absorbs strongly the red and blue violet regions of visible spectrum. Around red and blue violet region, there is strong absorption. That is, the graph goes high. See, so there is strong absorption of red and blue violet light. Because it absorbs red and blue violet light so strongly, the light it reflects and transmits, it appears to be green. Okay, and that is also the reason why the leaf, that is also because of the pigment being green in color. Next, you know that it is not just the chlorophyll pigment present in the leaves, there are some other pigments as well, like carotene and cutescin, cutescin, and different pigments will be there in the leaves. But chlorophyll is present more in number, and it has this very intense color, because of which the leaves are green in color. Okay, but what happens in autumn when the weather changes? There is decay of chlorophyll molecule, that is in these fallen leaves. If you have seen leaves, when they are present attached to the tree or plant, they are green in color, but these fallen leaves will be brownish in color. Why is that happening, students? Because in those leaves the chlorophyll pigment has got decayed. Okay, Because the chlorophyll has got decayed in those plants, that green color is not there in the leaves. But there are some other pigments like carotene and cuticetin. Okay, they were not able to show their color because of the presence of chlorophyll pigment initially, because it is more like prominent. Okay, but once the chlorophyll gets decayed, the leaves show color like red, orange, or golden brown. That is because of these pigments like carotene or cuticetin. Next is we are seeing what is the role of this magnesium present in the chlorophyll. So you know that in the chlorophyll pigment, the central metal atom is a magnesium which is coordinated in the porphyrin ring. So what is the role of this magnesium? Why is it required in the chlorophyll? This is a very important question. Now, without magnesium, the chlorine ring would be fluorescent. Okay. Only because that magnesium is present in that chlorine ring. This is the chlorine ring. If it did not have magnesium in the center, the ring would be fluorescent. But because this magnesium is present, this ring is now phosphorescent in nature. Now, what is fluorescent, students? Fluorescence meaning to say like a mirror. Okay. As soon as the light falls on it, it will reflect back the light. It will not absorb it. It will reflect back the light. That is fluorescent property. Okay, so if magnesium was not there, the chlorine ring would be fluorescent. What would be the problem? Here we need it to absorb the light energy because that is required for further chemical reaction. That is its main function, that is absorption of light energy. So if we reflected that light as soon as it got absorbed, then there would be no use if it is not able to absorb. So because of magnesium being present in the chlorophyll pigment, it gets the phosphorescent nature, that is, it is able to absorb the light energy. That is, immediately this light energy can be used for all other chemical reaction. But if it did not have magnesium, what would happen? All the light that is falling on the chlorophyll pigment would get reflected back. That is, there will be no light energy absorption. Hence, because there is no light energy, no light phase reaction would take place. So, photosynthesis would not occur. So, magnesium is very, very important. Second thing is this magnesium that is present in the ring, it prefers tetrahedral geometry because in that geometry the steric hindrance is very less. You know that any organic compound prefers a structure where the steric hindrance is least. It is stable in which structure where the steric hindrance is least. Same way, this magnesium present in the chlorine ring, it prefers tetrahedral geometry. But because of this rigid chlorine ring structure, magnesium is forced to have a planar geometry. Because it is forced to have this planar geometry instead of tetrahedral geometry, in this planar geometry, the steric hindrance is very high, and because of that the magnesium nitrogen bond, it remains in strained condition. So here, because of the planar geometry that magnesium is forced to have because of this chlorine ring, this magnesium nitrogen bond is there, no, that remains in strained condition. What happens if that is there? You know that whenever a bond meaning to say electrons are present, electrons constitute a bond. Whenever that bond is in strained condition, that electrons of that bond are looking for opportunity to break the bond and leave the bond and go, correct? So as soon as light energy falls on this bond, what happens? The electrons of that bond, they leave the bond, they absorb the light energy and they get excited to higher energy level because the bond is present in the strained condition. So any small amount of light energy falls, immediately this electrons of that magnesium nitrogen bond, they will get excited to higher energy level. That is a good thing. Why? Because there is immediate absorption of light energy. A very small amount of light falls also, this electrons will immediately absorb light and get excited. So this absorbed energy is then utilized for all chemical reaction. You know that more the absorption, it is better because all the chemical reaction, it requires this light energy. So because of these electrons willingly, very readily getting excited in the presence of light energy, all the chemical reactions will take place. And then third point is Through coordination by chlorophyll to magnesium center, the rigidity of the macrocyclic structure is further strengthened. That is, that cyclic structure becomes more strengthened because of magnesium present in the center. What happens if its rigidity is more? There is minimum vibration. Okay, and you know that whenever there is molecular vibration, there is loss of certain amount of energy. Since the vibration is minimum, the energy loss due to the vibration is also minimum. That is the third point. Fourth point is stacking of chlorophyll in antenna chlorophyll. What happens in antenna of chlorophyll? One chlorophyll is present above the other. And like that, so many will be present in the form of antenna. That stacking is attained by bridging action of magnesium between the adjacent chlorophyll moieties. That is, one chlorophyll will have magnesium, then the second chlorophyll also will have magnesium, correct? So when one tries to sit over the other, there is a bridging that is formed between the two magnesium, that is between the first one and the second one. Same with second one and third one. That bridging action is shown by the magnesium that is present in the chlorophyll pigment. Fifth point is, now you know that four coordination is satisfied by four nitrogen atom. If in case fifth coordination was of the magnesium was satisfied by water molecule, what happens? That water, once again, water splitting takes place in case water has coordinated or water has formed a fifth coordination with the magnesium. What happens? Because of the photo, that is light falling onto water, there is photo induced splitting, that is splitting in the presence of light energy, photo induced splitting, and it provides electrons are released. You know that whenever there is splitting of water, there is release of electron, and this electrons is further utilized for photosynthetic process. This is in case water forms a coordination bond with the sixth coordination between magnesium and water takes place, then there is photo-induced splitting of that water molecule in order to release electron. So with this, we have finished our first unit completely in bioinorganic chemistry. I hope you have understood this topic completely. So we'll end this class for today. Thank you for attending my class, students. All the best. Take care.